Tate, it's a really good ball. It's Shabalala! Goal! Bafana, Bafana! Goal for South Africa! Goal for all Africa!
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of How's Your Touch? Podcast where two friends meet weekly to discuss the latest news in the soccer industry and play games, around soccer, as well as challenges, predictions. But today's episode, new format. I don't know what's going on, and I usually know what's going on. So today's Tate's episode. But before that, I'm Darren Badu, aka the Oracle, because I see things other people don't see. And my co-host is Tate Alonzo. Tate, anything to say to the people?
I'm tired of this Oracle gimmick, bro. It's time. It's time we cut that nickname.
Yeah, bro. Let's get into it. Tate, what are you doing today?
Today, Darren and I were discussing a little bit. It's kind of hard to, talk about stuff in the off season. So I said, just let me do my thing. So I'm doing my thing today. We got three-ish segments. I'm not expecting this to be a super long episode, but it's going to be a different episode. I think it's going to be more appealing to, maybe the more what I'd consider casual fans. And I think, it's going to be interesting to see me kind of stitch Darren up on some of these things potentially. So I'll go through the three. We'll do one by one. So we're going to start with some blind rankings. For those of you who don't know how blind rankings work, I'm going to tell Darren just blind rank these and blank. That's going to be the subject. I'm going to tell him one at a time. He's going to have to rank them without knowing the next one. So we'll start with that. Darren, are you ready?
Yep.
All right. So I want you to blind rank these things. All I'm saying is these things. All right. First, Arsenal winning the Premier League. There's 5, by the way. So 1 through 5.
2.
2. There's something better than that.
Keep going.
All right. Ghana winning the World Cup.
Yeah, there you go. 1.
Hey, bro. I knew that was coming.
There you go, bro. 1. Let's move on, bro.
Number 3. Getting engaged to your girl. Hey, bro. All I know is I know you're going.
You're blind ranking, right? You're blind ranking.
Yeah.
Okay, so some else could come that could be like, my mom's life is in danger or something, right?
Yeah, bro. I just want everyone to know that Darren wants Ghana to win the World Cup and Arsenal to win the league before he gets engaged, bro.
Oh God. My only issue is now I have to put this at 3, right?
Hey, bro, that's up to you.
Oh God.
All right, so is that number 3? All right, I got you. All right, Arsenal winning the Champions League.
Okay, let's go 3.
All right, and your last one is having your firstborn child. That was put that at 4.
We have to put that at 4.
All right.
But if it was up to me, I would switch 4 and 5.
All right. So I want everyone to know that Darren's blind rankings were as follows: Ghana winning the World Cup at 1, Arsenal winning the Premier League at 2, Arsenal winning the Champions League at 3, having his firstborn child at 4, and getting engaged to his girlfriend at 5, bro. Would you change anything now that you know?
bro. I've already told you 4 and 5. I would switch.
But everything else stays the same.
and probably 2 and 3. Champions League would be over Prem.
All right. So just so everyone knows the passion that we have for this.
Yeah, bro.
Hey, I love.
I would give him my all for this podcast. The only thing that could have gone number 1 was how's your touch.
How's your touch? That's number 1. I love it. The next one is a little more topical. Darren and I have talked about how we don't want to talk about transfers very much. I just want to do a quick blind ranking, just straight vibes. So it's just going to be rank these transfers. First one, Gyökeres to Arsenal, 1 through 5.
4.
Potential transfers. Okay, 4. Cunha to United.
3.
Okay. Madueke to Arsenal.
5.
Mbeumo to United.
2.
Eze to Arsenal.
1.
I low-key, almost exactly how I would have ranked it. I would have switched Cunha and Mbeumo, and maybe Gyökeres and then Mbeumo too. But I agree. I think Eze to Arsenal would be so sick. But some interesting transfer news we're being exposed to from Arsenal. I don't know if you're liking the business with Madueke basically confirmed and the targets.
We'll talk at the end of the transfer window. Trust.
Hey, bro, we'll talk at the end of the transfer window. Just a quick, you like the list? Do you like that one?
I didn't mind that list.
Okay.
Yeah. Mbeumo. I personally think Mbeumo will probably have a bigger impact at United than Cunha. I think Mbeumo affects games like over the course of 90 minutes longer. I think Cunha tends to have more like flashy moments.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I tend to prefer people who will be doing work repeatedly, getting you up the field repeatedly. I think Cunha can do that, but I just think, I don't know, you guys signed him like he's some kind of superstar, and I think it's going to get to his head that he has to make
I agree. I think it's the ego signing. I think that we're boosting his ego a lot. I think I personally rate Cunha over Mbeumo. I think Mbeumo is coming in to get us a lot of goals, and I think he's a big overperformer of his if you look at the XG stats, he's the biggest overperformer. But I also understand that anything can improve us. I've had my talk about Mbeumo on our 2 episodes ago, or last episode. So if you want to see that, you can go to that. But good. So Darren's ranking was Eze 1, Eze to Arsenal 1, Mbeumo to United 2, Cunha to United 3, Gyökeres to Arsenal 4, Madueke to Arsenal 5. Would you change any of that?
No, I don't mind the Madueke signing, to be honest. I think we're gonna sign more people. So to me, it doesn't really matter. I think a lot of people were screaming, "Oh, you play soccer too much. You play soccer too much." And now we've signed someone who
and people are mad. It makes no sense.
And I get why people are mad about the transfer fee, but at the same time, Cunha went for 75 mil. And Mbeumo is going to go for 70 mil. Morgan Gibbs White is going for 55 mil. Kudus is going for 50 mil. I just think the price for Premier League players is almost set at a standard. And that's just kind of what you have to pay. And I'm not mad we're getting a Prem backup. I personally would have preferred a Kudus or an Mbeumo, but I also think Mbeumo is priced out. And I also don't think he wanted to come sit on our bench, whereas I think Madueke would be more okay with that.
I also think Madueke, I don't know how much he plays there, but I do think there's a potential that Arteta could be looking at him and saying you could maybe see time at left wing too.
I agree.
I think he's very good on the transition as well. And I think, the Arsenal fan section I'm seeing on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, is very anti-Madueke. And I'm not Madueke's biggest fan, but I think he's young. And, I don't think it hurts for him to be an option off the bench. Last year, they were looking at Sterling off the bench. Madueke is a vast improvement on him. So, I'm happy to say I think Arsenal could do a little better, but I think there's more signings coming for Arsenal. So I think we'll see how the end of the transfer window goes. Now, the last one of blind rankings, then we're done with blind rankings, is just 3 football chants. So there's only 3. All right. So the first one, for
Lukaku
those of you,
#1, bro.
what?
Lukaku #1, bro.
Hey, we haven't got there yet. Listen,
But I'm just letting you know Lukaku #1.
for those of you that have not heard them, I'm not going to sing the whole chant. YouTube does have, they kind of censor some things, so I'm not going to speak the whole ones. There were a few that I left out. Like there was a Ji-Sun Park one that I really wanted to put in here, but I was like, I can't do that. So, first one, Will Griggs on fire. Your defense is terrified.
5.
There's only 3, so you want a 3?
Okay, yeah, 3.
Okay, because I only could think of 3 that I really like. The second one, Romelu Lukaku. He's our Belgian scoring genius.
#1.
And that's a good one. And the last one is yeah.
I'll put that number 2.
Yeah.
That and #1 are interchangeable.
Cool. I think I agree. So for me, those 2 were just so far superior to anything else I could find. But I do love the football chant. And for those of you who might not watch football or soccer, I kind of refer to them interchangeably. The fans in these environments do a lot of chants about players. If you go to like an American sports game, it's like go team, and like, yeah, it's just a very different vibe. So I do highly suggest looking up any of those chants I just mentioned and listening to them and listening to what the crowd does. But I agree. So Darren ranked Romelu Lukaku chant 1, Yaya Kolo Torre chant 2, and Will Griggs on fire chant 3. So there's the blind rankings section. New kind of format. Some other pods are also doing something similar. Really, I thought of the idea just because I wanted to stitch you up for the first one, but I did enjoy that section. Hey, bro. So now, the next thing I want to do, Darren, is I want to talk about what is wrong with football or soccer. So I just want to hear anything that you really is pissing you off about the community right now. Because I have one big one that
I'm glad you asked this, actually, because I actually have been thinking a lot about like the whole like football is dead argument, the whole like, oh, we're not seeing great football anymore like we used to. And I think that's complete cap. Like, I think it's like, I don't think it's as player heavy 100%. Like,
Yeah.
I think like definitely systems are more implemented, but I think we still see the best players turn out even in these systems. Like, systems aren't preventing the best players from going out there and making a difference. Like, and when we literally talk about some of the best games we have seen in our lives, like Champions League games, like, bro, you can't tell me of many Champions League games, even 2 Champions League games, that you have seen better than Inter Barca this year. Like, and a lot of people will be like, oh, but that's recent. But bro, before that, we're talking about Benzema literally coming back against Man City on his ones. Like, Vinny doing
that same tournament too. Rodrigo scored 2, like, yeah, it was crazy.
Like, I think people are oversold on this football is dead argument. That's my big issue with the community. I think people are very nostalgic when it comes to football. I think the same way you go and ask me, my uncles, oh, who is the best goalkeeper you've seen? My man will be saying Dudek. And who is the best player you've seen? They'll be like, oh, nobody's moving like JJ Okocha these days. Like, I hear you, bro, but they were also playing against bums. Like, I think people aren't giving enough credit to the fact that the average level of football players now is much higher than it used to be. So for the good players now to stand out, they have to be good, like different. Like they're moving at different speeds. They're doing everything so quickly now. Like passing, combinations. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not like we've never seen some of this stuff before. Like, of course, we've seen great teams from 2012, 2011, Barca, United teams, Arsenal teams, old teams that were great. Like, but I think we're still seeing those teams in today's day and age and those games. Like, we're still seeing players have crazy runs. Like, bro, Rafinha this year literally tore up every tournament he was. Bro, Dembele, Lamine Yamal scored 0 goals over in that Inter game, but dropped like a 10 out of 10 for bro. Like,
we're seeing left backs change the game too. Like, it's everyone's got their own.
Everybody's complaining about, oh, I hate that everybody's fullback wants to invert now. You look at the best team in the world; their fullbacks do literally everything you want in the game. You need them to attack; they attack, bro. Exactly. Like, you need them to defend; they defend. Like, I just think people are so oversold on the whole like football is dead argument, because it's, to me, it's a lot of nostalgia, and I hear that, bro. Like, when I think of players when I was younger, like, I think I also glorify players like Theo Walcott. It would not be that great in today's day and age, but I glorify him because that's the kind of player I grew up watching. So I get it, but at the same time, like, I think we are watching current greats, like, and we were watching current greats to make their names over the last couple of years. Like, we saw City win the league how many times in a row, bro? Like, but this is what I'm saying. When people talk about United of old, they're always like, yo, look, they won it 3 years in a row. Look at how great they were. But when people talk about City now, it's like, oh, the league is boring because City can win 4 in a row. And I'm just like, oh, like, to me, there's a lot of different like highlights of different parts of those years just to illuminate the past, and then, like, you know, like, put a darkness on the present.
I think a lot of what you're saying is true. I think we're in a world now where it's like you have to have a certain opinion to be considered right. And I think that's kind of weird. I think we're now at this period where it's like, oh, fans are becoming like over tactically aware, right? They're becoming over, oh, you need to do this press or this counter press. You need to, like, Man United had a point where they were talking about gegenpress. I was like, dude, what is going on? You know, total football has been around since Johan Cruyff's been here, and it's all like, oh, PSG's the most tactically aware team. Like, I think, at the end of the day, we don't have coaching badges. We don't have, we're not scouts. We're not all this stuff. We're just fans enjoying the game. And I think we need to do more of enjoying the game and less of, oh, this minutia is different than this minutia. And I think, what Darren and I try to do on this podcast is not necessarily say, oh, the advanced stats of this player, this player's average position, nah, dude, like, let's just watch the game and let's enjoy. And I think it's this whole utter woke nonsense that we're seeing in today's society now with football, where it's, oh, this player is so much better because he has this much running stats and this much. I saw, like, it's just ridiculous to me. And I agree. I think, you look at football now and you look at football then, it's different games, right? It's like comparing, people really struggle comparing like MJ and LeBron, right? In basketball, people are always like, oh, if Bron was then, he would be cooking. But people are like, you didn't see MJ when MJ was there. And I think, there's a little bit of understanding from the football community as well, because we're here saying Ronaldo and Messi are by far the best players ever. But you look at those old timers and they'll tell you Maradona was different. He would come out, he would, do some miscellaneous things before the game, but then he would cook and then he would do some miscellaneous things after the game. And I think, I think we just got to appreciate it for what it is. I think, like Darren said, the average player now, in my opinion, physically is a lot better than the average player used to be. And I think the skill sets you watch, if you watch your average player from, let's say, Brentford, versus 10 years ago when we were watching average players from someone like Stoke City, it's a completely different level. So I do think that is a good, fair assessment, but I think we need to understand that football is not dying. It's honestly going nowhere. I think the talent that people are producing is different than we've seen in a long time. Lamine Yamal is what, 16, 17? He just turned 17 and people are already talking crazy about him. So I think we need to respect that. Another thing that I think's wrong, because I wanted to bring in my input, and this has been pissing me off beyond belief recently, is these Twitter or X accounts that post transfer news, right? I'm not going to call out names. We all know who they are. But, bro, I don't need to know, oh, this is what I get, all right? Tell me what it sounds like after. Oh, this person is interested in this player. This club's interested in this player, right? Then I get, oh, this club is talking to the club's family. This club is talking to the other club now to formulate an agreement. They're discussing this term, this amount of money. Then the next tweet is, oh, they've agreed to this amount. Now they need to talk to the player. The player said yes. Finally, they're coming. Oh, wait, the deal's off because there's something going on. No, wait, it's like, come on. I just want to see, I want to take to the point where I get the announcement of a player when they're holding up the shirt. And I don't think that's ever going to happen again. But imagine like the scenes. I just think of Florian Wirtz, right? One of the most exciting young talents. We all knew this was coming. Imagine no one knows it's coming. You just see Florian Wirtz holding up a Liverpool shirt. Imagine last year or 2 years ago when Jude Bellingham signed for Real Madrid. Or Trent this year. No one would have expected Trent to sign if it wasn't constantly being talked about. And I think it's taking us to the point where, first off, I think it's low-key like, how are they finding out this information, right? Like, it's kind of, in my opinion, it's a little creepy. It's like someone's following me around saying, oh, Tate's walking to the grocery store. Oh, he's picked up the pasta. Nope, he's put the pasta down. He's getting rice. Oh, Tate might be on a diet. Oh, never mind. He got the mozzarella sticks. Like, come on. Like, let's just let the people live. Let's let the clubs make the announcement. It'll be so much better for everyone. That's something that's just really been bothering me recently. I don't know your thoughts on that.
No, I agree. The only thing though is that, like, you know me, bro. I don't have Twitter anymore, so
Hey, and that's honestly that's the way to do it, because now you're
I don't have TikTok. Like,
facts.
my
I don't either.
intro to like transfer news tends to be like articles on like ESPN or something.
Yeah.
So it tends to be a little later, but I do agree. I am getting like that pre-notice, and I would care to know players we're interested in, but like I wouldn't care to know what status the deals are in until it's completed. So yeah,
like this Embuemo story is driving me crazy. Like, come
I
on.
just think that's because your club,
Your club, right? But like, I already know, and now it's like, dude. I mean, if we count the tweets that's been posted about it, it's ridiculous.
Sure, but you know that's how he makes his money.
And then one other thing I want to discuss about on this topic, unless you have something else, is why do you think the United States is so much worse at football than every other country? For comparing when I say that, comparing like our size, you know, the global status, the athletes that we produce in this country, what do you think the disparity is?
I just think it's about focus into your top sports. Like, I think if you look at some of the biggest countries in the world, like, bro, like India is one of the most populated countries.
Yeah.
Like, they love soccer, but it's not their main sport. Like, cricket is. And cricket has a much bigger following in India, and many more people play cricket in India. And I think in the US, unfortunately, you just have too many American sports. Like, you have basketball, you have football, like you have NHL, even though that's not American technically. Yeah. The league is here. Like, you have too many sports of interest for American kids to pick from. And even then, I think there are other stuff. Like, I think kids in America, in high school, for example, you'll see certain teams would be much bigger, like a track and field team. So you would probably see more kids try and do track and field or focus on other sports rather than just soccer. And I also think it's just the aura that surrounded soccer previously here. I think people used to look down on it as like, oh, this like soft European sport. just because like the American sports tend to be a little more grittier, like American football, like the competitor to our
Mhm.
football. It's like literally people going out there to try and kill each other. So yeah, I just think I don't know. Soccer probably had a bad rap here for a little bit, and I think now it's starting to unravel. Um, but unfortunately, I just think the focus is still into a lot of other sports. I think if the MLS, for example, started paying players a lot, like Saudi did, like I think you would start to see a lot of players wanting to play in the US. Um, I just think the money doesn't speak for the MLS. Like you
Yeah.
look at the NBA, you look at NFL, some of those contracts, like compared to MLS contracts, like it's literally like just the former Europeans here who get big deals, and then it's everybody else survive on the 300K a year, something someone in Europe is making a week.
Do you think that's something that changes? Because, like, for instance, I'm thinking, like, especially with the MLS, because I think that's where, if our country wants to change the dialogue around soccer, it's going to have to start from there. Do you think, like, the addition of Messi, right? Because I do think people overplay it sometimes, but I do think it does have a big impact on the league. Do you think that's something that's like starting the stepping stones? Because now you're seeing players like we saw Ramos, Busquets, Jordi Alba, but now we're seeing even people like Rodrigo De Paul's now looking to come in. I think he's a little younger, a little more in his prime. Do you think that's something that's going to shift that, or do you think it stays the same?
I think you could get some shift, but the issue is like it's the big, and this is an issue across a lot of American sports. It's that like it's the big market teams that get certain players, and everybody else is left for themselves. And the issue is with no relegation here, there's no initiative for the smaller teams to get better. Like, why would I get better if I'm selling tickets anyway when Messi comes to town?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and there is no fear of me going into another league. Um, I think the one thing that would help significantly would be removing a salary cap, so people aren't paying a luxury tax every time they're trying to get a mega star to their team. I think if you remove that and you go more the European route towards transfers, like just allowing people to openly transfer based on like what their books are saying. Like if you can balance the books on the transfers, then go for it.
Yeah.
But I like some of the American aspects of the MLS. Like I like that there's an MLS draft. Like I know, like for the most part, none of those players like make it in the MLS. Like maybe like 15, 20 every draft class actually like
Uh-huh.
make it in the MLS. But I don't know. I think it just adds a little like American spice to it. So I'm not completely anti MLS.
I think for anyone that's, I think the past few questions I addressed, I get a lot from individuals, I'd say, and not trying to dish it out at anyone, but like more casual. And I think if you listen to Darren's discourse right there, like I think you'll understand a lot of why I think soccer is downplayed here versus other countries. And I think very similar if you look at it from the aspect of other sports, I think, our best athletes are going to play sports in different sports. Like I think of some of the players that we have that are athletes right now. I know Victor Wembanyama is French, but like I think of him and like imagine a 7-foot striker that could like actually, and he's got a he's
Like,
got a little bit of tech if you watch him, but
bro,
like
even like goalkeepers, like think
exactly,
about like
they'd be crazy. Like some of these wide receivers' hands, I mean, so I think that aspect of what Darren spoke on was very telling. And I also think the whole idea of, the no relegation and the salary cap and the big market teams is something that's really big right now. And I think it kind of worsens, in my opinion, with something like the Club World Cup coming up, because I think this aspect is kind of promoting like almost a capitalistic standpoint with teams, because I think of, LAFC just got founded and they were in the Club World Cup. winning a game for LAFC brings them so much money. It's a big market team. I think Seattle was in the Club World Cup. And I think that's a different standpoint because that's more of what we should see, right? Those teams that earn that position. And I think, Inter Miami, no reason Inter Miami should have been in there. But
Washington, Seattle.
We see it in other countries too. It's almost like in my opinion, it's like a rebranding of the Super League. Besides, you don't have all those big teams, but it's rebranded to make it sound less bad, but it's really doing a similar thing. You think of a team like the team from it was in is it South Africa, the Mumdilly Sundowns? I don't know where they're from, but Auckland City in Australia, like these teams are getting so much money for being here. and they're gonna run through the leagues every year, dude. It's like destroying those leagues. It's destroying the small leagues. So
sure, but like I think that's if you're attributing teams earning money to their success. Like I think there's a lot of teams that make a lot of money, but
if you're looking at these small leagues, right?
Sure.
They're destroying. It's like, to me, the Super League, the problem that came up with the Super League was that, it's big market football and then the small teams get thrown in the dust, right? And the Club World Cup right now, for those countries that aren't the big, let's say the big 5 or 6 leagues, even those countries that are the big 5 or 6 leagues, these teams that are participating in this are going to get a vast amount of money in comparison to the clubs that don't, to the point where Chelsea have funded like all of their the transfers this year just from doing this well in the Club World Cup. PSG just won the Champions League, run the Ligue 1 every year, now have enough money to say, Leon, we owed you money for Bradley Barcola like for the next 2 years. We're just going to pay it now so that you don't get relegated, yet we're still going to have enough money to buy whoever we want. Like, I just think it's rebranding it. And I think this is something that, is kind of Americanizing the sport almost in a sense, because now it's the, you look at the NBA and the kind of big market teams, or you look at, like KD just went to Houston, that type of move, those big market moves, those teams that have more money. And I think, having no salary cap really adjusts. I mean, having a salary cap really prevents the smaller teams from developing into challengers, I guess I would say.
No, I hear what you're saying. I guess my only like counter to that is like we've seen in so many leagues across the world where like there's clearly like a big spender in the league. Like I think there in most leagues there is like a clear like, oh, this is a team with the most money in this league. And I think that hasn't prevented teams previously from competing. Like I fully understand that like this amount of money is life-changing for certain teams like Auckland, for example.
Yeah.
But I think the counter to that would also be the period that the Club World Cup accounts for. Like it doesn't account for just 1 year.
Yeah.
After. Like it's a 4-year period of like what have you accomplished over this time. So I think even that initial injection might be like a spur on to like win the league. But I think sometimes you will see that like other teams will still be able to compete. Like I think sometimes other teams will have like a really good player. Like you can't always guarantee the league or being the best team in the league by spending the most amount of money. I think the big difference would probably be like infrastructure for those teams. Like being able to build like a better stadium, a better like gym, a better locker room, get like facilities. I think that's the kind of stuff I would be worried about, especially when like attracting talent in that league.
I thought the knockdown effect it would have.
But at the same time, like, I don't know. I think certain teams still have pull. Like, I think, bro, we literally saw Ronaldo talk about the failing infrastructure at United, and United is still signing players. Like, I think like that doesn't necessarily prevent players from coming to your team, especially if you have other things to offer. Not that United does, but
hey, bro, we're still getting players. But no, I think it's just another thing that for me, it's been very hard to tune into a lot of the Club World Cup games just because I feel like I lack interest in it. And I think, I just feel it's another play at like UEFA's play at like, oh, let's kind of do a Super League, but not, or FIFA's play at let's kind of do a Super League, but not do a Super League, So for me, I just think like I see Jamal Musiala's injury the other day. Like it's just it doesn't need to happen, right? These players should be on vacation. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it doesn't need fixed. Maybe people like it. Maybe the comments can let us know what they think. But that's just.
I will say I like a couple of things they're doing in the Super League, though, or not the Super League, the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
I think some of the format things I really like. I like that it's global and not just European.
I agree.
Or just previously, it
used to be from Brazil too. Like they're so fun.
It used to be just like South American and European. South American, North American, European. But now it's literally expanded. We have African teams. We have Saudi teams. I really like that. I also really like that, like the ref is speaking to the fans now. Like, I like that we're putting them on the spot like that because that should be part of the job description, bro. Like, if you're going to make a decision and stand on that decision, and especially when they send you to the screen and you come back and you're like, I'm standing on my decision. Explain to us why, bro. Like, yeah, it's okay. Like, because there are too many people who have to face repercussions for certain decisions. So even if it's just you say something and the fans boo you, cool, bro, we move on. Like, that's it.
Not to interrupt you, but when I was I went to the United Aston Villa game, last game of the season, for those of you that I didn't mention it. But for instance, Bayern slid past the goal, right? And they said that it was a foul. Bro didn't touch him, ruined Aston Villa's chances at Champions League. The ref has no explanation to do whatsoever. You're in the stadium, right? It just says VAR pending review for, checking for offside, checking for foul. Then it says no goal. And I think that's one aspect of football that's very different. And one thing that the American sports do well, I think, is refs do have, repercussions as well, right? Players get repercussions for blowing a game. They lose salary. They, if they do something as bad as gambling and that type of stuff. But the refs have, like, in comparison, no real repercussions, especially in football or the soccer community. So I think Darren brings up a really good point there. And I also just said some things like, I think VAR could use a lot of different expectations. I think we have too many rules on handballs. It's like it's a handball in this states, but not in the other. I think slow motion fouls is, I think we're doing too much with VAR, but I think everyone would say that as well. And then I have one final segment. This one should be pretty quick, and then we'll finish up the pod. I just want to know, prior to the season starting, do you have any players that you would like to name on Fraud Watch? Because I have a few I'd like to shout out, but I don't know if you have any players that you'd like. This season's, you're really looking at them because your fraudometer is like kind of tilting towards they might be a fraud.
I have a couple. Liam Delap.
I like it.
Get that brother out of here. I don't know. Everybody keeps talking about like he's the going to be the one who takes over for Kane. To me, bro, he just gives bulldozer vibes, bro. Like
PCL vibes,
bro. Like he literally just runs into people and can smack the ball really hard.
Yeah.
Like his finishing is better than like a casual striker. Like I think he is a composed finisher, but I don't think he offers that much. Like I think he literally is just like heavy touch sometimes, but like I'll fight off the defender, so it doesn't matter. Like I just get very like my best attribute is my will, my aggression, and I'm not that like into strikers like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was that he could go for 30 mil, because I think in today's society, what's scary is I think teams would have been throwing. Ipswich could have asked for like 60 mil and people would have paid it.
I agree.
Which is crazy to me. Yeah. I like it. Any others? Or you want me to do one so you have time to think?
You can do one.
All right. This one hits deep. Martin Odegaard, bro. I think it's time that this man answers for not really his crimes, but I think it's time to step up, bro. The leader of Arsenal, right? I hear Arsenal fans say they have the best center back duo, best back line in the league, right? Statistically, they do. Okay, so they have such a good back line. They have Declan Rice, who I hear is one of the best, if not the best, holding or midfielder in the Prem. I hear Martin Odegaard getting cam shouts that he's the best cam in the league. We have a front three of Saka, who's one of the best. I just think, this team is set up right now. Martin Odegaard, every time I watch him in important moments, I feel like he's not there, right? He's the captain of his club, and his club is continuously falling short. I think that Arsenal is just about there. I really do. I think, for me, if the signings go right this year, they're my title favorites. But my issue is that they are relying a lot on this guy, and I don't know if he's that guy. I really don't. I thought he was. I really did think he was. But I watched the end of this year, and I watched what happened when Saka came back, and I watched what happened when he was out. And I thought the same thing was happening with Odegaard, but I really think that Odegaard I think he's playing it almost too safe. I think he's not giving that cutting edge that Arsenal need, and I think he has it in him. I really do. I think he's got that bag. I just haven't seen it. So he's someone that, obviously, I still think he's going to be a good player, but for me, I think this is a turning point year for Odegaard, and I think if he doesn't deliver to the extent that, and it's not even just me, right? I'm a United fan, but to the extent that Arsenal fans think he should, I think it's time they move on from him in the standpoint that he's not their number one guy, right? He's not their captain, right? He's not their leader, because I think they have a lot of leaders in that squad and a lot of people that they can look up to lead them. And I think he's someone that I don't know if he's that guy. So I don't know your thoughts on that one.
You're allowed to have your opinions, Tate. No, I just think there's multiple things that affected Odegaard's performance this season. Like, firstly, he was injured half of the season, like literally playing through an injury for half of the season. And also, like, I think his role was different this year. Like, I think the year before, we all saw him score so many goals, like literally the record for most non-penalty goals from a midfielder in Prem history the year before. So I'm not like completely worried about Odegaard. I do think final third, I would like some more production in terms of taking shots. I do think he plays it safe in the sense of he wants to assist people before looking for creating chances for himself. But I think that's just kind of like the nature of the player Odegaard is. Like, I think for him, he would much rather want to walk the ball into the net than take a long shot. But sometimes a long shot is warranted, which we saw in his season before. But also, I think this year he was asked to come and pick up the ball from deeper than the year before. Like, we had Shaka for a year. Then when Rice came in, we had Rice and Partey in there for most of the season. So, like, Odegaard was pretty much playing 10 with a double pivot behind them. Whereas this season, I feel like it was much more rotational and who was coming to come pick up the ball. And we saw Rice much more advanced than previous seasons. I think it's just about finding that perfect blend in the midfield to take advantage of everybody's strengths. I don't know if the perfect blend exists between Rice, Partey, Odegaard. I mean, we have Zubimendi now. I think that will give us a chance for a more realistic blend. And of course, we have coming off the bench Norgard, Marino, who played with him. So I don't know. I guess I'm not as worried as for Odegaard, also because I think if Eze comes in, for example, then you also are taking off a lot of edge off of Odegaard. Like, I think when we look at some of the previous title winners or title competitors and even Champions League competitors, I think you see a lot more rotation in their midfields. You look at City, for example, they would be subbing on Bernardo for De Bruyne. They'll be subbing on Gundogan for Bernardo. You know, they had a lot of midfield players who could go in there and do a job. And I don't know, I think just adding someone who can have Odegaard on his toes also would push him a little bit more than like, because right now he's captain. Like, he knows he's gonna play.
Exactly.
So I think having someone who will like, oh, like Eze comes on the field, you feel Eze is on the field. I think having someone like that to push him could also get the best out of him. But I don't know. To me, I'm not as pressed as others are. I do hear it. He is captain, so like he should be the one getting us over the line. But at the same time, like I don't know if I'm looking at him and thinking that's where we lacked last season.
And I think the other thing I see a lot of is a lot of the Arsenal fans that I'll see on social media or I'll talk to it's very, I think that's why I kind of brought him on the fraud watch too, because it's very, there's a specific member on a podcast that hates Odegaard that I think of that's a big Arsenal fan. And, I feel like a lot of Arsenal fans are kind of one way or the other on him, and I think that's why I feel it's a defining season for him. But I do think the way Darren spoke about it, like I think what you're saying is completely fair. I just think you are in the minority of belief for him,
Sure.
or not even belief, but the minority of opinion on him, because you're not necessarily saying this man he's going to carry our team to glory, he's the answer, but you're also not saying I'm concerned with the way he's playing. So I think that's a very good way. And like Darren said, I think, you need multiple pieces to win a title. So I think he's definitely could serve as one of those pieces. Any other players you have on fraud watch? I like the Liam Delap shout. All of United is on fraud watch, so you don't have to name any of them.
Yeah, it's just not really interesting with United.
Yeah, exactly. Because I have two really interesting other ones.
I have a couple of City players I'm looking at a little different right now.
I agree.
I think Rodri post injury could look scary out here, bro.
Dude, and they're trying to sell the guy they just signed. Like
Rodri post injury could look a little scary. I don't think he's gonna lose it, but I think like
it's not gonna be
first year. Yeah, I think this first year he might have like a Van Dijk first year back from injury. Just like where there's a couple moments where you're like, oh, bro, like you need some rest.
Yeah.
you need a backup. But I think if Pep does what I think he's gonna do, this player shouldn't be on fraud watch. But based on their current system, I think he will be. I think Jeremy Doku, bro. Like I think if they continue to play the way they are currently playing, I'm not here for it, bro. Go back to France or something.
Honestly,
find a different team.
Because I agree.
Go to a different team because like this isn't for you. But if Pep is about to flip it back to the like, I'm giving my winger space to come inside, just cook your guy and come inside. Then I think like that's what I think Pep is bringing back, and then I think Doku will cook. But if Pep doesn't, Doku, I'm looking at you different, bro. Who else? I had another player in mind. Oh, Elanga to Newcastle, bro. I don't know if it'll work. I like Elanga as well, bro, which is crazy. I just don't.
I don't hate it. Yeah.
Like, I genuinely just don't see it at Newcastle. Like, I think Anthony Gordon gives you a little more grit than Elanga does. I think Anthony
play the same position too.
Yes, bro. So I'm confused. Like, and I get Newcastle are playing in Champions League, so like depth. Like, if that's the reason they're bringing him in, like, so be it.
That price for depth, like, dude, he's more than you paid for Madueke. And I love Elanga. I will sing his praises all the time, but it's crazy.
Yeah, but maybe he's also playing on the right wing. You never know, because that's where he played for Forest some games.
Yeah.
So you never know. But I don't know. Like, I just don't think you can have two of the similar type of players on the wings. Like, I think they're too similar. When I think of Gordon and Elanga, I think they're both very much like, pace is my best attribute. I want to go down line. I don't mind coming inside. Like, I'm stronger than you think, but I'm not as tricky as you think. Like,
I don't get the move for him either. I get it from the standpoint of I'm going to play Champions League. I'm going to a bigger club. I'm going to, a team that their fan support will like run through a wall for me. But dude, didn't he have similar things at Forest? Like, I
Yes,
feel like
yeah.
he was the one of the guys at Forest, right? It's him, Morgan Gibbs White, Cho. You know,
Maybe I think one of the motivating factors is Morgan Gibbs White is leaving. Like I think Forest still probably feels like a feeder club at this moment in time, whereas Newcastle feel more established. Like this is what their second year out of 3 years in Champions League. Like
I just don't know if it's the move for him, because then I look at someone like Chelsea, right? Like Chelsea come in for him, and I almost think it's a better move because, you know,
hell no. Bro, no winger should be going to Chelsea.
Yeah, right. But I think he's got a better chance of getting week in, week out game time there, right? And I think I even
bro, I don't know.
I even look at Arsenal though, right? And I think him on the left wing gives a different standpoint than Saka. And you know, then you can have the conversation of, do you like him more or do you like Martinelli more? But I don't think it's a bad option to have there. I just think Newcastle, right? I look at that left wing, and that's where I think Alenga's best position is. You know, I don't see him getting in over Anthony Gordon, and he goes in on the right, and maybe he succeeds. I just think you're putting a player out of position, kind of like, you know, Madrid do with Rodrigo, right? I just think you're putting a player that isn't in his preferred position. I don't think you should ever build a team where you're, you know, makeshifting people in positions.
Yeah, I hear you, but I think maybe for them it's the balance of like you have Anthony Gordon, who is a goal first winger.
Yeah.
And you have a striker who's going to get you like 25, 30.
You need
if you have Alanga on his right foot on the right side, he is probably more prone to crossing than coming inside. So I think for like the balance of like, oh, you want one creative winger, you want one goal threat. But like my only issue for him being on Fraud Watch is I think him and Anthony Gordon are too similar. Like I think you can literally like almost like post up as a team and be like, hey, we're just gonna have our fullback protect out wide, and then we're gonna have two CDMs protect the gap between center backs, and then like I think you're blocking
get shut down.
Yeah, like because I don't think they are the type to create like something out of nothing. Yeah,
and in the midfield, they're a fantastic midfield, but not a creative midfield. So I think the two other players I had, one I just want to discuss on quickly is Harvey Elliott. I think he is very good, and I think, you know, he just, I mean, I don't know how old he is, but the U21 Euros, which he's not under 21, so I don't get the naming of it, but besides the point, he just was player of the tournament. For me, Liverpool fans gas this guy up like crazy, but I never see him play consistently for Liverpool. And I think for his career, right, he's going down a path where it could be, in my opinion, like a Billy Gilmore vibe, right? It could be a player that doesn't reach his full potential because he doesn't have the opportunity. I think it's time. If I'm Harvey Elliott, I'm moving on, because I think they just signed another guy, and they have a midfield three that's already been established. They have a right winger that's just signed a new deal. You know, I think right now he's at a point of his career where this year is crucial for him, in my opinion. He's either got to go on loan or make a move, or he's got to integrate himself into this team, or else I personally don't see how this guy is someone that's a regular for the England team, like I think people are talking about, or potential superstar developing that I think a lot of Liverpool fans discuss on. And then the other one, this is a big one. I think Florian Wirtz is on Fraud Watch. Listen, I hear that he's crazy. I hear that he's a good player. But I also would like to remind people of the league that he is coming from, right?
Okay. Let's do it.
I think that the Bundesliga consistently has players come in that are bad. I'm going to name one specific player that I remember a lot of people getting hype about that came to my club, and his name was Jadon Sancho, right? Look at the stats between the two players. They're not that far off, right? The age, they're not that far off. I understand we're talking Liverpool and Manchester United, which I know is a point that people are going to make. But I'm just saying that this league has had issues for a long time with players coming in. I think you look at Omar Marmoush, right? Comes in, baller. Everyone's like, this guy's going to ball. I mean, he's been okay, right? But he's not been 110 million worth that or 120 million worth that they're paying for Florian Wirtz. Now, my main issue with the signing is not even the league, right? I think the league is where I start to, say, oh, this could be a fraud. My issue is where are they going to play him? Their midfield three last year was Gravenberch, Alexis McAllister, and Dominic Slabosly. Or Shabasly. I don't know how you say his name. Everyone's going to tell me he's replacing Dom Slabosly. He was good last year, and he might not be the creative playmaker that they thought he was when they were getting him. But their system worked well the way it was, right? You're going into a team that's working, that just won the league in the system, and you're saying, I'm taking this guy out and bringing in a Cam, a completely different profile. My thought is they're trying to play him in the 9 because they need a 9, right? They have Darwin Nunez playing at 9 as of right now. Darwin Nunez is not the answer for them at 9. They spent 120 mil. Why not throw an extra 30 mil on and get Isak, right? For me, their plan is him at 9, and they're going to play Gakpo and Salah on the wings. When has Florian Wirtz played 9? Okay, it's a false 9. When has he played that position? I don't think this team is suited perfectly for Florian Wirtz like people are saying. I don't think this signing is 120 million, hit the ground running, 20 goals, 10 assists, or 10 goals, 10 assists even. I think it's going to be a scary hours. I think he's going to struggle. I really do. I think he'll turn out decent. He'll turn out to be a good player. I'm just saying that the figure that they paid for him and the system that they're having, I don't think he's the needle mover that's going to make them run away with the league, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sense made, Tate. Bold statement. I'm not as sold on Wirtz as other people, but I guess I'm also just not as sold he's gonna be a flop or he's on the fraud watch.
You're like in between.
Yeah. I think part of the fee is age. I think part of the fee is the fact he can play multiple positions. And I think part of the fee is we were taking the talisman out of
a team.
Yeah. A talisman who won them the league, by the way. I think Liverpool had to change the way they played, mostly because you aren't getting the same output of any other right back in the world that you're getting from Trent. So you have to add some kind of creativity to the team to make up for losing Trent. Like Frimpong is good, very creative right back, like more of can even play right wing if you wanted him to, but still not creative volume like Trent has. Like, and as clear cut chances, like that ball back post that Trent can put to like almost guarantee, hey, get a touch on this, it's a goal. I think you have to make up for that. So you have to bring in a player that can do that. Now, I think my big thing with Wirtz is I see a lot of X factor in him. Like, do I think he will score 20 goals, 10 assists? I don't think so, to be honest. But I think he'll give you 15 and 5 or even like 12 and 10. But bro, those 12 goals will be bangers, bro. Like, that's the thing. That's what I'm scared of the most, to be honest, is that like he just has so much like, oh, okay, like I should just take over this game. Like he has that ability to be like, oh, like, let me try something. Like, let me go ahead and just do my own thing. And I think there are very few players who like mentally can be in the system, such a system-oriented team, and still be like, oh, this is the perfect time to break out of the system. And this is the perfect time for me to like show my class. And I think he has that a lot. I do think there are a couple of things I doubt about Wirtz. I think physically, like I think you sometimes in Bundesliga you see him run past players. I don't know if it'll be as easy for him to do that in the Prem. I think the Prem has more physical players, and not even in the sense of like just fast. I think players who will like just try and barge you. Like I think there are sneakier players in the Prem. I think the overall quality of marking is better in the Prem. But like I said, I do think, bro, he just has that like fuck it, I'm him in him. Like I think he just gives me a little bit of like Coutinho vibes. I'm not gonna lie. Like I think he might be like Coutinho again for them. So I'm seeing him play off the left at cam and false nine, bro. Like I think that's why they got him. I think it's the fact that like
But
they
don't
can
they
try
need
so many different
decisive? They need that decisive 9, right? Who sits
Sure,
at
but we
9 for
keep
them?
saying that, but like, bro, we saw City win 4 leagues in a row. They won what 3-2 without a striker, like literally just throwing
I get
midfielders.
that. You're right. You're
Like,
right. They
and
did.
before now, Liverpool literally didn't even have a striker this year. Like, and won the league. Before that, didn't have
I just feel like
a,
it's so
a
weird.
striker and still won the league. Like I think people are very sold on this idea that like you need a striker
Correct.
to win the league.
Correct. But
But
I
I
feel
also
like
think if
that's the
you're
weakness.
getting output from other places, it doesn't matter, bro.
But I just feel you're right. You're right. It doesn't. You're 100% right. But
Look at PSG. Like they literally like their striker picks up the ball from right back, bro. Like
correct. But I think, in my opinion, they need to pick a spot they need to improve, right? I mean,
sure.
you want to go and win the league again. You're losing that creativity, which I hear you from that standpoint. But then you go and sign almost a like for like replacement in Frimpong. Obviously not as good, but similar play style in that he's
I
more
don't
of
think
a
the play styles are similar at all.
well, it's more okay, maybe not
Like, I
play
think
style, but
Frimpong dribbles a lot more than Trent does.
correct. But
Create chances. That's usually how Frimpong is creating his
yes,
chances, is taking players on.
profile from the standpoint of my right back's first idea is to attack and to create, not to defend, right? So they're looking from that standpoint where I think they replace a creative right back with another creative right back in a different manner, like you said. Then they look at the left back, right? And I think that's another area where I think Robertson did his thing this year, and I think he got a lot of hate, but I still think he did his thing. But Kirkes is an improvement in the sense that now they have another option there. But for me, that their main point of where I thought there was a lot of load on Salah this year, and I don't think Salah is going to produce the same output every year. And I know people say that every year, but he almost broke the assist record and scored 25 plus goals. And I think you're looking at players like Luis Diaz and Gakpo and players that are probably getting close to 10 goals a season that I think, you need someone that's going to mark down that position. And I just think, Darwin Nunez getting sold, Luis Diaz potentially getting sold. I think they need that other guy there that's going to take that load off Salah. And maybe it is Verts. Maybe I'm completely wrong on this standpoint, but I just feel like a guy that can take that. And I don't even think me saying Isak is a crazy shot because I don't think Isak is defined as just that 9, right? I don't think he's that guy that can only stay in that 9 position. You're talking about players picking the ball up from deep. I think Isak can do that. I think Isak can create as well. I think he can play on the left and in the center for however they want to play. I just feel like the signing that they made, just to me, it's not pointing out the biggest weakness in their team. And, maybe they're saying we don't have any weaknesses. Our system worked the way it did last year, like you're saying. We don't need that 9. We're just going to throw whoever up at that position as long as they can hold on to the ball. They can collect the ball from anywhere. They can create chances. And they're saying this year is Salah's again. For me, it's just a signing where I think it's going to be this is another guy that can take a little bit of the load off Salah scoring wise, but can take a lot of creativity and get the ball to Salah more, and Salah is going to produce again. And I just don't know if that's going to be sufficient, but it very well could be.
Lastly, my only thing is, bro, when do Liverpool big signings don't work?
That is the one thought that continuously I look at.
It's just like
Darwin Nunez. He's the only one that I can
sure, but like even Darwin, bro, they're looking to get the same amount of money back.
I know they're gonna get.
That's crazy, bro. Like, so
it's almost like the biggest low risk, expensive signing that you can make, right? Because even if he doesn't work at Liverpool, in 3 years, Bayern can come back and say, I know this man's going to ball. Maybe I won't pay 120 mil, but give me 60 to 80 mil for him if he doesn't work. And they're going to. So you're right. I mean, Liverpool's track record, I'm betting against a track record that's way more successful than my clubs and a lot of clubs. So I'm probably going to look like a fool, but we gotta get views out here, right? So
yeah, you're right. Just baiting the fans.
But I really do think I do agree with everything I said. So yeah, but listen, that's all I had for the agenda today. It went a little longer than I thought it was going to, but we had some good discussion. I think my favorite parts are always just making us look like fools. So stitching you up at the start. I think people will enjoy that. But I also think we had some good discussion for people to who might not understand as much about football or soccer, or it's kind of gotten stuff for everyone in there. So hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Definitely like, comment, subscribe. We have been seeing your comments. I do know some of the video ideas. We are working on them. Remember that when we do the video opportunities, we like to involve other people. And Darren and I are on different time schedules, and the other people we want to bring in are also on different time schedules. So it does take some work, but we're trying to produce some content every once in a while. So, yeah. Anything you want to add before we close out, Darren?
Like Tate said, like, comment, subscribe, nothing more to add. Peace be with y'all.
Tate, I wouldn't be wanting to spend this moment with anybody else but you. Take my hand. Take my hand. Take my hand. Take my hand. Aw, Tate.